if you're quiet, it's almost like you can hear it as a background noise. And I don't mean the traffic, but I mean the voices.
Pump. And the smallest one had to get under there and pump.
The mill history in Columbia is really a critical piece of our local history, and really was the economic engine that pushed this community into the 20th century. Telling the mill story in Columbia is really a critical piece of our past, and there are very few buildings that were erected to support those. You know, the mill villages really were self-contained. The people lived there, they worked there, they ate there.
It's known now as Olympia, but years ago it was known as Pacific Mills Community because Pacific Mills owned everything. You heard that song, Tennessee, Ernie Ford said, "Oh, my soul at the convenience store." That was about it. They owned everything. They owned the mills, they owned the store, they owned everything. And you didn't have to worry about nothing. I mean, you didn't have to worry about a job. You didn't have to worry about how. You didn't have to worry about no payments. You didn't have to worry about the light bill, nothing. You know, it was all furnished.
Well, it would be hard to compare it with another area because I don't know of any place that was united as they were. You worked together, you played together, you went to school together, you went to church together, and you knew everybody, or either you knew something about them. You know, it was just an odd and unique place. And the mill company, as bad as it was still a stepping stone to a better way of life.
They had a little stigma on people from the mill village. But after I made some friends up there and went to their homes with them, I found out I really was better off than they were.
There was a great sense of pride and sense of self-sufficiency in that community. And so the mill community had to do for themselves, and they did well for themselves, you know, and they've got a lot of pride about it.
We were the first community to have running water and plumbing and electricity. Well, yes, the mill provided it, but we were the first.
It was good. It was really good. There's a lot of things provided for us, like they call it 701 Whaley, but the old Y. First swimming pool, I guess, in Columbia was right there.
There's a feeling here in fields of cotton. There's a long, dark road that is not forgotten. There's a stretch of stress many hearts feel and know here. Look away, my father once did.
Any buildings that support that story are critical to the larger story of Columbia. 701, the Whaley Street, the building that stands there today, was erected sometime between 1903 and 1904, and it was built as kind of community center for the mill village.
Upstairs on one side there was an auditorium. Mr. Eb Wallace, who run the place and was paid by the company, he showed the kids a film, some movie, every Friday night.
Going to the theater at night, I used to love to see the series of the Green Hornet. And also had a series of Captain Marvel.
YMCA, they all come there, social. Some of the kids and all was working 12 hours a day. On Sunday they were off, but Friday night was the night they had a movie. First I ever seen in my life was it was a dime to get in.
And every Saturday night on the other side, where there was a gymnasium, there was a dance of sorts. I guess it was a square dance, but I don't know, because I was just a kid.
Over on the left-hand side was a little canteen and some steps that went upstairs over to the left. Over on the right-hand side was the library, and where we took piano lessons. And in the back part of that was the pool room and the bowling alley, I think, and a gym downstairs and a gym upstairs. And there was also a barber shop in that building. I remember my mama taking me down there to get Buster Brown haircuts.
You had a barber shop, you go around the side, and in the back, Shine Taylor's barber shop. Get your hair cut for a quarter. For a quarter. And Shine cut my hair until I'd say back into 70s.
Go through the back door to the barber shop, go down the hallway and slip into basketball games. But the kid liked, but you know, they never did say nothing about it.
They had a pool room, which us kids thought was for crooks. We just peeped in because they had the lights hanging down over the table, you know.
This was a gift from the mill to the community to provide all these activities to the children of the community. So we had wonderful times.
We didn't have nowhere to go but the Y. So they had a swimming pool over there for us to go twice a week. And the boys couldn't go when we went in. They had days for them to go in. And we'd put on plays.
The kids down here didn't lack for anything.
Go home and eat supper and take a bath and get over there.
They had a full-time recreation director. He was in charge of the Y.
A fellow by the name of Albert Wallace was the director over, I don't know what his title was, but he was over everything. And he was there for years and years. I don't remember when he left. I think it was around in the 40s, early 40s.
And they had a good basketball team. They traveled. And my husband, one time, they was playing up in Boston, New Jersey, and he scored so many points till they put his picture in the paper.
When I was a kid, I used to go down there on Friday night and Saturday night and watch them dance. Sit in the bleachers and watch the old folks, we called them old folks, they weren't that old though, dancing.
I'm sure there's many courtships there over the years, you know. Let's meet and dance or whatever, you know. It was just nice.
About all the main thing I remember is buying the tickets and going in. What was, they're not about 25, 50 cents to get in. And I had some babysitting money I used. I used to go every Saturday night with Mary. Mom thought I just went to Mary's. Between the dances, they had the waltzes and jitterbug and stuff like that. There was always a crowd of people down there outside.
There were? Just kind of...
Almost as many outside as it was on the inside. I met my husband here when I was 14. I was sitting down resting and he come over and asked me to dance. I danced with him and he had his whole family up here. Charlie Williams band that played in his daughter Jeanette sang, little girl Jeanette. I do remember there was a good many soldiers that would come from Fort Jackson and they act like they enjoyed it, being away from home, having a place to go. It just seemed eerie, like I'd walk back in my past, to my past. All my past is down there in that Olympia village.
Mailboxes, timepieces, please shut me down. The food is the thought, and the thoughts in the ground. All of these people are leaving this place. Some go to hell, and then some go to waste out there.
I learned to swim in the pool down there. So I could swim across down at the shallow end where my feet would touch the bottom. And it didn't take me long to learn to swim. And I got where I could dive off the diving board.
We call this the window to the past.
Climb up and take a look.
We're looking at a pool that was probably the most fabulous pool in Columbia at one time. And now we have steel beams sitting in the pool. We have 6 8-foot trees growing, probably 8 feet of debris in the pool.
And they had a trapeze down there that the big guys, and I tried my best to catch hold of that trapeze and I couldn't. I wasn't big enough heavy enough to spring up high enough to catch it. I tried to.
Over the pool, you mean, or?
Over the pool. You know, you could jump on, they'd jump off the diving board and grab a hold of that swing and swing over, and then they'd drop back down in the water.
To still have a community center that's associated with the mill that's standing, as we do at 701 Whaley, is really, I think, a unique component of that neighborhood and critical to telling that neighborhood story as well as the larger mill story.
They had the largest swimming pool they ever had in Columbia at that time. And it was a paradise. You could go to a movie, you could go swimming, you could skate, basketball courts, library, anything you could think of, we had it in that one building.
It really was the cornerstone of the Olympia Mill community and Granby Mill community. I think any building of this age and with this character should be saved. It's got historical value to it. It's, it represents a community from the 1920s and, what the mill community was for 70, 80 years. Yeah. Richard Burt's had a lot of experience in owning and renovating old buildings, and I do too. So I think we both see this as probably the biggest challenge of our careers. We both feel like the building should be saved. We're going to do everything in our power to do that. It's going to take a lot of structural work to get it back to where it was 6, 7 years ago. Really our first phase is just going to be bringing it back up to where it was before the roof collapsed.
Be with us now and bless this building, 701 Whaley Street, and all who toil, labor, and come and go through these doors.
My grandfather's father's son, which they would have been first cousins, was the Reverend C.E. Burtz, who was the pastor at First Baptist Church downtown. He did the dedication ceremony for the pool and the gym and stuff back here. I went and told my dad, I said, Dad, C.E. Burtz, I think he's telling me to buy this building. And my dad, he's 80, coming up on 82, and just that quick came back and said, yeah, well, C.E. Burtz talked to me in my dreams last night and said, get the hell out of there!
Oh, swear, I'll be your fan. Oh, swear, oh, swear, I'll be your fan. Don't even, well then. Trust you, you figure, baby, while you still can, you know your heart is gonna race, you know your heart is gonna race.
One of the best spaces too. I like this wear pattern in the floor where people have turned the corner, and the riser for the sprinkler system I think is just fantastic. When I saw it, the first thing I wanted to do was to have a facility space, where caterers could come in and you could have weddings. I could see people, wedding parties on that staircase, that front staircase, with having their picture taken and the whole bridal thing going on. And
yeah. A space like 701 Whaley has so much potential because it is this giant box. And so you could go in and really arrange it, so to speak, to meet all sorts of different possibilities.
Think about it, right in the middle of Columbia.
That's really a blank canvas right now. We've had different ideas. Definitely the front part needs to be retailed down. The rest of the building, it could be residential. It could be more offices. It could be professional space. It could be banquet area, catering area. You know, we're going to have 35,000 square feet here. It's really, there's a lot you can do with 35,000 square feet. We've got a big basement. We plan to do some things in the basement also.
Robert Lewis makes a point to identify buildings that other people don't often see as significant. They seem to make a really good pair. Robert has a lot of experience in doing this, and Richard just seems really passionate about the project.
Well, yesterday I noticed that a capital was missing. There's columns going down the center of the building, and the capital is the little decorative piece right on the top of the column. It's the only capital that's missing. I sure would like to find it. Hey, that's it. What's it?
Is that it?
But you know what? This one's wood. The other one that just came down yesterday was cast iron.
Is that it, really?
But that's it. Good job. Yeah, that's it. Remember? I mean, look. Kind of thinking about it up like that, but it's missing some. You know, it was worth the trip out here. Quite possible it was even hand done. I don't know. Success. As y'all know, in 2000, the roof fell in, and when it first fell in, was sort of right over this double door, and you can see how it pushed that wall out some.
You know, Rich and I always say this is one of those projects you got to take it step by step, because if you start thinking of everything at one time, it scares you to death. So right now we're just looking at the roof and the windows and the deck, and then we'll kind of go from there. Yeah, we'll see.
How to eat an elephant, just one bite at a time.
I guess the thing that has surprised me is how many separate issues have to be acted on and resolved every week.
There's got to be something. We'll work on it. Item 132, item 148. All right, item 170, demolition of the building next door.
Where are you? I'm sorry.
Page 2.
Page 2.
Item 174.
I would certainly look at the price before I make that decision.
I have to double check. I'm not sure that it is.
I'm learning. I'm evolving.
Yeah, you can leave the damn pipe in there. We'll just run the sprinkler pipe through another pipe.
And leave this part.
It's the same price, but here's my concern.
We're also, as we go along, we're just going to basically check all the existing beam pockets. Even F&ME is going to test for lead paint.
Nobody ever wants
do?
to accept the responsibility. I mean, Rick wants the testing people to test it and say this is good. The testing people want to just provide data and let Rick interpret it.
I tell you what I'll do is I'll work two sets of numbers. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You through, Vince?
One more item.
Okay.
All right.
So we've solved it by saying it can be done.
It should be able to be done.
Let's do the best we can to save what we
I mean,
can.
we're saving every piece of beadboard, and
Yeah.
but
We just do the best we can.
when we
with
got
what
all when we got all new doors and all new windows, and
But we got turnbuckles.
we got
And
turnbuckles.
beams.
Whatever
Those
beams,
beams,
whatever
that's right.
beams we end up having left.
Well, what we've done is we've recommended to the owners that they do a test panel for the cleaning technique. So we want to be sure that the historic masonry is protected during this process. I mean, there's no point in trying to protect the building if we damage the masonry. So that's one thing we're going to be doing today. We're going to be looking at some test panels that they've done. And the other thing we're looking at is the window, the historic, based on a new window rather, based on the historic window. This is an interesting one because I haven't ever seen one where they use dry ice. So we'll see. The mortar joints reacting differently than the brick, and if you get certain, I guess, size pieces that hit, then that starts to cause a problem too.
But in this case, the
face of the brick is
face of the
freezing.
brick's so soft,
Yeah.
it just won't. It just doesn't work out.
Today we're putting the elevator shaft, running up the center of the building so that we can put our steel around it. The rest of the steel is being fabricated and the windows are being installed as we speak on the west side, first part of the windows, so that we can start over upstairs with our framing and finishing the inside first. This part, which has the open roof, will be erected with steel, or steel will be erected in a couple of weeks. And then we should be starting to put the roof on in 3 to 4 weeks on this side. And in another month, we should have it dried in, and then we can start all the interior work. So we're making good progress, a little bit behind where we want to be, but we're moving right along.
You know, a lot of projects get to the very end and they cut back.
Yeah.
And you know, we could have done that on a lot of things like pavers outside or.
I wanted to put linoleum in the bathrooms and he wouldn't let me.
Yeah. But you know, that final 5% of the project is what most of the people see. And
floor sanding going on some of the floors put down in the back apartment. I've got the painters.
Everything seemed to take 2 or 3 times what we thought it was going to take. Because we were naive when we started out, I guess. You know?
Pavers are set to go in next week. All the site work is coming along.
That's all the building, right? Y'all see.
Juan, are you gonna make sure this is right?
I have to, the boss is over here. El patrón está aquí.
It's just too easy to go into a building and just tear it all out and build it all back. And that's not what people want. You know, that's not what we wanted. And I don't think that's what the people want.
This area, you know, from the time we started 3 years ago to this point, you know, it's just unbelievable what has happened in this area.
New baseball stadium.
New baseball stadium, you know, 400 apartments going up 1 block away.
The mills, both mills finished.
The mills finished and leased out almost 100%.
How did they finish all those projects?
How did they finish them so quickly?
That's what I knew there was something missing.
We got a lot to do.
It's getting closer.
It's getting close. It's closer than it was.
greatest time for me, again, was that first event that they had, and it was basically event planners that came in here and were looking at the building and having drinks and things like that.
It's nice to be here and be able to do something this way. I've been looking for a space like this in Columbia since I started this business.
But just to see their reaction when they were here.
Just the sheer number of people who've come through this building in the past made it a community asset and one that needed to be preserved, along with the stories.
A lot of history, a lot of history. And yes, I think it's important. And I thought one time it would be destroyed because it was allowed to just depreciate, just go down. And luckily, I think that these two men decided that they could make something out of it.
And it is our pleasure to be a part of this great unveiling today.
This building's going to be here. It's going to be here, you know, a long time after my grandchildren are gone.
Olympia will shine.